supposed to start a conversation. It's supposed to make you wonder. It's supposed to make you think. And it did everything. I mean, I'm a type of person who enjoys a good crime documentary. Okay, we can all sit up and we can sit back and watch the Eddie Geins, the Jeffrey Dahmers, and oh my gosh, these crazy people, these crazy white people. But Diddy, let's be clear. Let's be clear. It was like watching a real crime docu-series, but it was also rooted in a lot of our childhood, or from my childhood, or our just cultural background when it comes to hip hop. Okay. We're talking about icons in the industry. We're talking about Biggie. We're talking about Tupac. We're talking about Mary J. Blige. We're talking about Total. We're talking about the Hitman, Stevie J. Okay. Diddy's reach has impacted so many people, and his reach was so strong that he is literally ingrained and intertwined into who we are as a culture and a community, whether you like it or not. Take that, whatever the case, especially if you grew up on the East Coast. Okay. So I think that they did a really good job at measuring and showing just how much of an impact he has had, but not in a direct way. Diddy was not the person to really show up in the community. He was just aspirational. He was just a figment. He was just something that we thought we wanted to aspire to be. He was never one of the ones. And I think this is why 50 decided that he was going to do this documentary. Okay, 50 was doing this documentary because he felt like, oh, you like on people's baby moms, you like people's girls, because we know he was dealing with Daphne Joy, which is his baby mama. But also, I think that 50's motivation is given very much, and I'm likening it to Kendrick Lamar's and Drake's beef. They have exalted you to this point, but you not really like us. And I'm gonna show you, nigga. I'm gonna show you. You feel what I'm saying? That's what the underlying thing is for me. Because all right, yeah, I got beef. All right, yeah, it should be mine. But apparently everybody be mine. But when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to this culture, you are not the king of New York. You are not this person who we thought you were. You said, hold on now. I'm gonna have to check that out. It was phenomenal. It was that good. Yes, it was that good. So I want to just start off, and okay, so this is where I want to start. They start off with the beginning of talking about his mama, and how he was raised. He didn't have a father figure, but his mom. Have you ever seen his mom? She walked a little bit. She got a little bounce on her. Real cute back in the day. And she was the cool mom, the party mom. You can go to her house and she's smoking the cigarettes, and she might bend over a little too much in front of his friends and very inappropriate. And I kind of see that on her. With certain women like that, you kind of see it on them. You understand what I'm saying? You can see that on them. And she definitely had that whole thing. And they talk and they paint this picture of who he was, right? He was a Harlem dude. He was always dressed nicely, but his mom, she was a baddie. Mama was a baddie. She had one son. He wasn't outside like that. He was a prince, is how he was described. He didn't have a real male role model. And when the only male role model that he had came from his neighbor, which is his best friend, who eventually had 25% stake or ownership in Bad Boy Records. And a large portion of this documentary is following him. And at first I'm like, well, he's obviously bitter. He's obviously bitter. He's obviously the best friend. He has a chip on his shoulder, as he should. But I do think that it's important to say how he was also the record keeper. He said he wrote down everything that happened at Bad Boy for every single day. I think it's important to note that he also they were showing clippings of, his journals or his documents that he had wrote, to show this is how much we spent. This is how much it was. And so maybe he is bitter. Maybe he is upset, but that nigga ain't lying. not all the way, not all the way. So he locked in. You said more people hit his baby mama, but he locked in on Diddy. Sure, yeah, maybe because it was some backhanded thing. We all know that. 50 has gone on record and just said that, like, the baby mama, or Diddy had invited him or offered him to, go shopping. He didn't like that. He declined him. Keep in mind, this was probably the early 2000s. This is prime G Unit, fresh off of Get Rich or Die Trying 50 Cent. He probably played him and made him feel small. And what you have to understand and recognize by with somebody like a Diddy, who has a God complex, who had, multiple addictions to various drugs, he doesn't forget. And that's what his best friend kept saying. Diddy does not forget who told him no. Diddy doesn't forget who wronged him. Diddy does not forget. And so perhaps he made it a point to circle back and get that baby mom because, he was a charming, charismatic guy who took Kim Porter from Al B. Shore. Now, he's just an intern at Uptown Records, right? And Andre Harrell, which he moved in with Diddy and this, that, and the third. It's given Andre Harrell was the one who kind of turned him out into all of this freak off shit. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. It's given Andre Harrell was the one who turned him into who he is, a little expose him a little bit, if you ask me, right? And I think that, like, he is such a monster and has been so rewarded for his negative behavior that it didn't matter because he was above it all. He had the God complex. Getting hit on by a man isn't that deep. He got 50 drunk. No. Money makes so women go, sister. Money doesn't always make women go. He was also assaulting men. Y'all think that it's just money? Y'all think that it's just women? I mean, like, come on now. Like, be smarter than that. It's niggas right now who go and do whatever for a quick buck. It's not just women who are motivated by money or power. All right. Like, one of the things that stood out to me was Little Rod, right? Like, I never had seen him. I heard when that thing had came out, like his lawsuit had came out. I'm like, who the fuck is Little Rod? And where did he come from? What are we talking about, really? I want to just say this right here. Before the Diddy hit the fan, the Cassie lawsuit, that album, the Love album, was on its way to win Album of the Year, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I made a video about it, but I never posted it because I didn't want to be upsetting to people. You know what I mean? Because you know how social media be. But that album, truly, if you really listen to the musicality that's happening on that album, the lyrics on that album, the feel, Little Rod, you deserve a Grammy. I don't know if anybody's going to tell you this. You deserve all that's coming to you. Super talent, overly talent. You feel what I'm saying? And it's so unfortunate that people who are gifted, people who are musicians and creatives and see and exalt this man and know that he could change his life, could change their position, want so badly. They love their craft so much. They love the opportunity or the idea of the opportunity that they go against even their own principles. That man produced the whole entire album. And it was a moment in the documentary where he was kind of like feeding him lines. We them niggas, yeah. We them niggas, yeah. And I think he when I heard it and I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's not a Diddy song. I think that he was trying to feed him the lines and give him the tone. Diddy was frustrated. He couldn't say the lines. They were saying we had to give it to him line by line. It took him 8 months and all this and all that. And the people from back in the day from Uptown Records were saying that too. Mark Curry was another one of his ghostwriters who was also shown and talked about how Diddy just really was not a good artist. He was not a good artist. He was a good con artist. He was a good scam artist. He had the media fooled. And one of the biggest takeaways, because I felt like, when we think about Bad Boy Records, when we think about what it means to be like a bad boy in that era, we were literally sold a lie. We were sold a lie. And because media during that time, during the early 90s, was so controlled, the only way people were consuming media was by the source magazine. Maybe paparazzi can flick a pic or something, and People magazine to come up with their own idea. But people weren't into, whatever, they didn't know the ins and outs. Social media has changed the game completely. And so because Diddy was a little bit more refined, he was from Harlem, he always dressed nice, he always had a couple of dollars, or for so it seemed. He seemed like more polished, he seemed more put together. And so he can't at the Source Awards come out and say, hey, I'm here to support all the Black artists, and I ain't even on that bullshit. We here promoting love, we here promoting peace, love and peace. And Suge looks like the aggressor. Perception. Suge's the one that looks like he's on some, whatever. Perception, because Diddy could control the media. He had enough tactfulness, he had enough finesse to be like, this is how I'm going to present myself. And because he was the only one that was controlling the media, or he was media trained, because he was A&R, he come from old school, he knew how to do that. Suge Knight was from the hood. Diddy was from the hood who wasn't outside. He was sheltered. You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference. And so he went to private school. You know what I'm saying? That scared me. Y'all know I'll be so scared. My baby's like, oh my God. So he was not one of those ones. Again, Drake, they not like us. Yeah, good point. Day 26 still crying. Day 26 still crying. There were grown men who were in this documentary, and they were literally crying tears. The pain was palpable. You could feel the upset. You could feel the hurt. That's not some shit you're just making up. You could feel that. And when we talk about a person who already seems to have some mental health issues, and then you couple it with drug issues, then you couple it with the God complex, and then you couple it with a whole entire team of people, I do not understand how he did not get the RICO charge. I do not understand how he didn't get the RICO charge, only because the assistant is calling, they're moving, they're telling the people, they're booking the flights. And they booked him with the prostitution charge. Okay, cool. I don't even know if I can say that over here. They booked him on that charge. But what people don't understand is, all right, yeah, you can be paying for services, right? You can be paying for the service. All right, yeah, here, meet me here, da da da. But if you know that you are about to have this woman come over here, and I'm about to her and rape her, that's outside of prostitution. That then becomes trafficking. You understand what I'm saying? If your assistant called and scheduled and went to the apartment and put tiles down and bought 1,000 gallons of Astroglide, that's sounding like an enterprise. And because people are so struck by him, and because he has such a larger than life personality, and it's almost like looking at someone who could change your life instantly. You want to do a good job. Generally, most people want to do a good job. They want to be liked, and especially by somebody who has money. They want to be in proximity to someone who has some money. That's exactly who he was. And I think that the prosecution definitely miscalculated Diddy's reach. I think it was important for them to, shout out to Tisa Tells, Armand, everybody who was in there, because it's showing how he understood that I need to infiltrate and I need to be in partnership with some of these people who are on social media so I can spin a narrative. Why are we talking about he's not on trial for domestic violence, but he is clearly assaulting this girl? We didn't see Cassie on the thing, kicking his ass. We seen him. When does it become okay? So because it's domestic violence, that's not the charge. What happened to just assault? You understand what I'm saying? And to be in a situation where you have this high profile case and the jury isn't even sequestered, meaning they're not removed and sent off somewhere so they don't engage with social media, they don't engage in outside world. This was, I want to say, as big as OJ. Which, by the way, I didn't even realize that Diddy hired um what's his name? If the glove don't fit, it's late. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Boxing scholar, tell me who he is. You know who I'm talking about. Why can't I remember his name? Who is he? The jurors are from the American population that elected Trump, enough said. No, but I think that one of the jurors really made a good point. He said, well, at the end of the day, she's enjoying all of this luxury, but then she'd want to go back. And if she was so hurt, it don't matter. She kept going back. That was the thing. Now, this is an older 75-year-old Indian man. You understand what I'm saying? It was given hater. It's given hateration. You mad because this young girl's out here getting flown out by this man or whatever. You feel like, well, he shouldn't go back to it. She's still getting luxury. You don't get to do both. Well, why the fuck not? If she's been with him since 19, he has groomed her. And this is the part that people don't understand that's so frustrating for me. It's like, why can't y'all get this? When you are groomed to behave in a certain way, even if you don't want to do that thing, your body is telling you that you want to. It's a chemical response, guys. That's how trauma works.